Hey, hi guys, welcome back. All right, so this is going to be a today's topic video, and this is going to be for the 19th of April, and I'm trying to decide what deck I want, and I think we are going to go this route. Let's go ahead. Let's give this a whirl. I get picky sometimes. Okay, a lot of times. What have we got here? Take positive action, card number 32. And it's kind of a cute one because it's like even if you're only sailing around in your own bathtub, meaning like we can have a shift in our circumstances, no matter what our circumstances are, no matter where we are, if we shift our perception of things. She doesn't feel trapped at all. She feels like, you know what? I'm relaxing in his lovely bathtub, but I'm dreaming about the places I want to go. I'm pumping myself up with the idea that I have a big future up ahead of me. There is going to be wind in my sails, and right now, let me be grateful for the fact that I'm in a nice soaking tub. Instead of feel frustrated, like, why aren't things happening faster for me? Maybe it's because I'm supposed to enjoy right where I am, rest just a little bit, and make some plans for the future, thinking about what we really want, getting a clearer direction. Um, yes, it's true that a sailing ship used to have to wait for wind to come along and move the ship. So without wind, those ships were just dead in the water, as they say. Um, so there is something about divine timing, and she's aware of it, but it's looking forward to, during times when we don't have wonderful things going on in our lives, or we say that we don't. Um, it might be a good time to be always charting our course, so because when the winds do pick up, we're going to be clipping along at a fast pace. And in the meantime, where we are right now, is that not also a fantastic gift? I mean, yes, of course, it's exciting to be moving forward when the wind does catch our sails, but the life that we live every day should also be an amazing thing. So that's a nice way to start out. That positive energy on that one is really nice. Wrong deck. I want to go with this deck. One. Okay, here we go. That was card 32. Could be an age, could be a date. We've got the Three of Wands, and we've got the King of Wands in the reverse. Looking at a future, but not anticipating who needs to be a part of it, just looking at the joy of the future, not being stressed out like, oh, but what if in the future this King of Wands shows up and they're arrogant and they're rude and they're blah, 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 blah. Why would we project something we don't want into our future? If we've dealt with something that we didn't want and didn't like, why don't we say, been there, done that, but the future is going to be different? It would be like saying, oh, let me think. Like if we whacked our thumb with a hammer one day and that hurts, but would we say tomorrow I'm going to whack it again with a hammer? Why would we start thinking about how much it's going to hurt when we whack our thumb with a hammer the next day? Why would we even assume that that's going to happen? Sure, if we're hammering nails, sometimes that does happen, but not that frequently, right? So to be constantly thinking of how bad our other finger is going to hurt tomorrow would be kind of a waste of energy. Instead, why don't we just think about all the other things we're going to accomplish the next day and not brace for a wounded thumb? So the future should not be looked at as, oh, that terrible, egotistical King of Wands is going to be in my future. Why? Who says that they're going to remain terrible? Who says that they have to be in our world? We've got the Hanged Man and we got the Wheel of Fortune. This says our lead character has the power to change their outcome, because the universe is saying, I know you've been kind of in a holding pattern, but it was to give you a chance to rest, give your heart a chance to heal, give your thumb a chance to heal. So now as we project into the future, why don't we just say, I've had enough time, and maybe that King of Wands has had enough time to change their attitude also, and maybe things are going to be different because, wait a second, the wind is catching my sails. I'm going to project that everything can get a lot better. This could be like dealing with a difficult coworker, and it's like, oh my God, I work with them next Friday. I wonder if they're going to be in a crap mood. And it's like, instead of thinking about, oh, I bet they're going to be rude, and then this is going to happen, and then we're going to get into an argument, why don't we instead just say, hey, I'm just glad that I had some time off. I rested, and I'm walking in saying, I love my job. I'm not going to stress out about whether or not I got to deal with one kind of crummy coworker, because maybe they won't be crummy every day anyway. You know, everybody can change. Everybody can behave differently. The big thing is I'm not going to set myself up for imagining that it's my future is going to have crummy energy in it. 3 of Cups upright, it's because their future is not. This person is really taking charge of what their future is going to look like. They're looking at it with a whole different set of eyes, whole different set of energy, and it's really nice. Death card, very big transformation. This is all because whatever waiting time has occurred was very necessary. It allowed, I'm going to say it allowed some massive changes, not only for our lead character, but possibly for that King of Wands as well. Let's investigate, because something has changed dramatically. And with that 3 of Wands, it actually looks like it's really good for the 2 of them. We've got a 10 of Swords in the reverse. Ooh, so that King of Wands has been quite unhappy with the way something ended. So maybe they were really displeased with their own behavior. 10 of Swords in the reverse says they have been very salty about this. Devil in the reverse, because they acted like a, I'll say crap bag. Okay. And they hate the fact that they were that. So interesting, you know, sometimes people have a crummy day and they act in a crummy way. And then they got to remember, like, oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did that. I was such a jerk. This person has been seriously, like, I would say stressed out, because they're let's put it this way, they're out of the grip of the devil at this point. So whatever that was, whatever that negativity was, whatever that they feel like a gigantic fool. This is a Fool card. Yes, it can be a wonderful leap of faith forward that they're willing to take now, but it's something that was probably, I would say they're a little embarrassed. Oh, more than a little. They're hugely embarrassed. Temperance, 4 of Wands, 2 of Pentacles. Wow. So this is a situation where, remember, our lead character is the one who's saying, I really want to envision my life being positive. I want to envision my future looking better. And maybe this lead character is even saying, and I want to envision that King of Wands has healed somehow, has made themselves better. Maybe that's the real message here. It may not be about what the King of Wands actually has gone through, but more what this character is saying. I'm going to project into the universe that someone who maybe didn't behave very well in the past has had time to grow, has had time to think. That's, instead of saying, oh, they're going to be horrible and someday I'm going to talk to them again, why don't I say, why don't I project the best possible scenario instead? They've grown, they've conquered some things in themselves, they're much more balanced, and we can be in a state of balance and harmony now. If this is, I'm wondering, are these two really going to be connecting? I'm not 100% sure on this, how to look at this. So are these two going to be connecting? I mean, the 3 of Cups would say yes. 6 of Swords, Prince of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, that's a big yes. I mean, maybe this is because, you know, sometimes things do come back around after big mistakes have been made, because it's like a, you know, that unfinished symphony. It's like, oh my gosh, I sang so out of key. I was so off, you know, just like how anybody can have an off night or an off day at work. And that's what we say. Oh, I was just having an off day. Athletes have, you know, off seasons, or, you know, they don't do well in one performance, or, you know, a performer, a singer, anybody can have an off day. The bigger the audience, the more people notice, of course. But in this case, somebody really was at their worst. And unfortunately, they showed their worst side to our lead character. But our lead character has this amazing sense of grace about them, where they are taking positive action by projecting, if I see this person in the future, what I'm going to say is, why couldn't they have changed? Why couldn't they have just been having a really off time and they are a better person than that and they have made progress? And if that is true, then I would welcome the chance to talk to them. Only if that is true. It's almost like our character has given a scenario and created it, manifested it, where it's like, if someone has improved themselves, I could see myself talking to them again. Instead of saying, I'm going to talk to them again, they're going to hurt me all over again, it's going to be a disaster. This is like, no, universe, I can see me talking to them only if they have gone through all these changes. And it's kind of remarkable because it looks like that's what is on the horizon. So maybe that's why our character is choosing to put themselves in such a good headspace. Maybe they sense it. Maybe, you know, the Six of Swords is about moving forward. That Prince of Cups is it is a love offer, and that Ace of Pentacles is a new start. How are these two going to wind up interacting again? Because it does look like in this storyline that they're on par to do it. Eight of Pentacles. You know, when we said that King of Wands in the reverse, you know, the devil was in the reverse for them as well. So they finally got beyond their blockages. And we also saw them looking kind of like a fool, but then we saw them with the Temperance card. This Eight of Pentacles is less about like working on finances and career and more about, well, this is Ganesh, remover of obstacles. So this is all about enlightenment. It's all about growing up, maturing, becoming a better sense of, you know, oneself, getting rid of those obstacles of growth and maturity. Five of Swords, which probably had a lot to do with this. If this person was surrounded by, you know, sometimes toxic behavior is because it gets steeped in other toxic behavior. Like, let me put it this way. If you take a clean dish rag, but you put it in a big thing of filthy, dirty water, and what happens to that dish rag? It's now a dirty dish rag, right? And if you try to go clean something with your filthy, dirty water, you're actually putting dirty water all over the surface of whatever you claim you're cleaning. You know, there's a time when you got to dump the water, get fresh water, and now you can continue to clean. So it's kind of like that. If this character was submerged in kind of toxic behavior that was like this, you know, kind of hostile, kind of, I always look at this as kind of like the meathead crew, you know, they're just a bunch of like razzing each other, challenging each other to do probably dumb things, that kind of attitude, like basically some bad influence from friends and stuff, family members, whatever it was. And everything was just like loud and raucous, and that was bringing out maybe some of the worst in that King of Wands as well. If they were stressed out because they were getting challenged all the time by, you know, whatever this group of meatheads are, they might have then in turn been like rude or something to our lead character, and it's like they finally realize, oh my gosh, why was I being hostile toward the lead character? You know, sometimes people lash out when they're under stress. They flat out, they're having a bad day, and maybe they're having a bad year, and they just are rude to someone who is actually very kind to them because they've got all this pent up stress coming in, and they're just on the defensive, like with everyone. With a Queen of Cups, they might have been on the defensive and acting like a Queen of Cups was you know, needy or demanding or something instead of loving, and so they only saw it with hostility. So if that has changed, and I'm not saying that if this person was rude or disrespectful or, you know, unkind, like I have zero tolerance for any kind of abuse, even in my fictional stories. Like I do not put up with any of it. I don't put up with it for my characters. So there's limits for me as to what I could say that this person has gotten beyond. You know, a King of Wands in the reverse is selfish, egotistical. And now what we see is defensive, possibly toward the very person that they actually did care about. That's not okay. And yet that also in my storyline, we're not crossing the line to like abuse. We're talking about like a human behavior where somebody does not shine. You know, I can give people that are these fictional characters slack when we go, okay, so they were really overwhelmed, stressed out, and they were not at their best, and they were rude to someone that they actually cared a lot about. That is, I can understand that because everybody has a time in their life when they don't shine. That's different. Abuse is like when they knowingly, intentionally try to harm somebody because they want to hurt a person. You know, that is not the kind of stories that I ever tell. I just want to make that distinction, because I could see where that could be a slippery slope unless I make that distinction in my storytelling. You'll never hear me tell stories about abuse because it's never okay with me, and I don't. There isn't any way that I'm going to make that be like, oh, but that's all right. Nope, I don't. Kate doesn't do that. Not even in fiction. I call it like it is. And I don't tell stories about it because there's nothing fun to hear about with that kind of stuff. So 3 of Pentacles is sideways. It still remains to be seen if our lead character is going to deal with this person. And she may not. She, he, whomever this is may not. It may be that we'll be able to communicate. It may be that it's great that some things have changed. It may be that, then again, I don't know. Then again, I don't know. We just got the all gifted. You know, that 3 of Cups and that Death card says that if this person has really gone through such a massive change, got the Wheel of Fortune sideways. It's not going to be immediate that she is like welcoming this person back into her life, especially given the fact that it looks like there was quite a bit that needs to be resolved, but the love is still there. There's been a lot of growth about that whole defensive attitude, and I think that was one of the key components. This person was super defensive, and I think they were in a ton of stress, and I think that was bringing out the worst in them. And if they're out of that situation now, it could very well be that this is, I mean, they're certainly smitten in love with her being the all gifted card there. King of Swords. So they've gone from being a King of Wands in the reverse to being a King of Swords, somebody who is, they would be very fair, very balanced. As Libra, Gemini, Aquarius energy, they would be truthful, they would be honest, they would not be defensive, they would actually, and they wouldn't let other situations impact them that way. 6 of Pentacles, and they're ready to give to something, and be really fair and balanced. So to me, this is looking like their circumstances changed, their stress level changed, and they have become a much better version of themselves. Meanwhile, our lead character was like, I'm going to only project that if I ever speak to them again, it would only be under the best circumstances, because I wouldn't project that I would ever have that negative individual back in my life. So the only universe, the only context in which I could ever see myself interacting with them again is if it was, you know, a positive one. And the universe is like, well, that's convenient, because it turns out they got over that devil energy. They quit being defensive and they've grown a lot, and they would like to talk to you. That's kind of what I would say, is that it's almost like we're, just by virtue of our lead character taking on that attitude of having good boundaries, having a positive projection on their own future and what they would permit into their own future, which is only good stuff. That is kind of like they created space to communicate with this person, because they said, under these conditions and only these conditions would I communicate with them. So if that comes around, awesome. Sure, I'll talk to them if things are good. All right, I'm going to leave that there. That's what we got on this one. It was kind of nice, actually. All right, thank you guys. As always, if you do enjoy my fictional storytelling, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe. It lets me know you like the channel and want me to keep doing it, and then I will. It is always fiction. I am not a psychic, so do bear that in mind. Thanks for being here. Bye-bye.